Welcome. Welcome in, everyone. Thank you so much for being with us on this beautiful Friday of Construction Inclusion Week. I hope this week has been wonderful to you. Been able to engage with your colleagues, your coworkers, other folks in the industry, and just have a great time of learning, engagement, outreach. So feel free as you come in, just pop yourself in the chat. Let us know. Thanks, Mercedes, where you're from. And anything that you have gained this week during Construction Inclusion Week, any highlights, anything that your company's been doing, we'd love to hear from you. And Mercedes is going to kick us off.
Hello. We'll give it one more minute. I see a lot of attendees still filing in, but we'll get started at 11:02.
Yay, thanks, Amy from Texas.
Priscilla, I see your hand up, so I'm going to click on how to talk for a second. You should be able to ask a question now if you have one.
Hey, Carmen from Delaware. Nice to see you.
Okay, Priscilla, if you have anything, feel free to put it in the Q&A or in the chat.
Yeah.
I'm going to lower your hand.
There we go.
Perfect. Well, thank you all for joining us for the last day of Construction Inclusion Week. If you've been here all week, thank you. If you haven't been here all week, we do have recordings of these, so you didn't miss out. I'm Mercedes. I am the National DEI Chair for this year, and I'm just so grateful and thankful to have all of you here this week. We really wanted to provide opportunities for learning and growth and development this week. And we themed each day to the Construction Inclusion Week theme of the day. So it's been a really great week. Lisa is our communications pillar, our education pillar. And she has been fantastic at getting all of these set up. So if you're interested in getting recordings of these, you can reach out to us. If you're interested in getting involved with our DEI committee or want to ask some questions or get some more information or just have a little meet and greet with myself or maybe one of the pillar leads, we're happy to do so. I'm going to put in our chat our DEI email address as well as my email address, and then a link to our form. So if you are interested in joining one of our pillars, we have 3 pillars. We have our education pillar that puts on things like this. We have our communications pillar, and then we have our community pillar. And so those are led by our pillar leads, and they have monthly meetings. And then our DEI committee meeting has bi-monthly meetings. So our next committee meeting is November 18th. We'd love to have you join us. It is posted on National's website under webinars. So you can go find the Zoom link information there. It's 3:30 PST on November 18th. So hopefully you can join us. If you just want to kind of come and sit and listen to our first meeting, feel free to do that as well. But I'll go ahead and put all of that in the chat and let Lisa kick us off.
All right. Thanks for that, Mercedes. All right, everyone. I am so excited to introduce to you a great, great friend and colleague of mine, Yolanda Baber, MBS. She is the Vice President of Strategic Initiatives of Business Development Marketing at JGM. Yolanda is a leading, Yolanda Baber, MBS, is a leading architectural, project controls, and construction management services firm in California, New York, and New Jersey. Yolanda leverages her multiple decades of experience and expertise in the industry to generate over $12 billion in revenue. She oversees all aspects of business development, client engagement, marketing communications, and strategic initiative partnerships for the firm of JGM, which serves a diverse range of sectors, including transportation, aviation, infrastructure, energy, healthcare, and education. Yolanda is also a transformational leader and a passionate advocate for diversity, equity, and inclusion in the industry. She currently serves as the president of SMPSLA, a professional organization that promotes excellence in marketing and business development for the AEC industry. She is also the immediate past president of NAWIC LA, SMPSLA, Sales and Marketing Professional Services, and ASCE San Bernardino Riverside, a civil engineering society that advances the profession and the community. Additionally, she is also a member of the CMAA SoCal DEIB Committee, which fosters a culture of DEI in construction management industry. Yolanda's mission is to create positive change and impact through her work and involvement in the industry and the community for women in our industry. Welcome, Yolanda. Thanks so much for being here.
This is how we're gonna get started, y'all. It's Friday, and guess
Woo-hoo!
what? Somewhere around the world, it's already siesta time, and so I just want to start off with some suavemente to get you guys engaged. I hope you guys can lean in as we start talking. Go ahead and share the screen, Miss
Yep.
Lisa. Thank you so very much. Well, just so you know this, you guys, I am super excited that I was invited to speak on community engagement and how to build stronger communities together. This is something that I personally take heart. If you go to the next screen, I want to share some information, you guys, of my foundation and who I am. So I think it's really important for you guys to know who's speaking before you, right? I think it's if you guys can look at the screen, you can see my mom, my brother, and myself all together. This was again plus 50 years ago. So that's why the pictures are not that, they're kind of gritty. But I just want to kind of let you guys know my background. So if I get excited, my first language is Espanol, is Spanish. And so my mother is Latina, Navajo Indian. And so we only spoke Spanish at home. So English is my second language. But most importantly, I just wanted to share a little bit about my story. I have been in the industry for 30 years. You can see pictures of my baby at one time, Seth. I have one hit wonder, my son Seth Mason Roseberry, and then he's now 30 years old. And I married an amazing man by the name of Stephen, who you guys see in that beautiful silver suit, in that yellow top. And a yellow t-shirt. And I'm an avid runner, so I love to marathon run. I'm getting ready to do a marathon in Atlanta, Georgia, called the Milk Run. It is a 26-mile run through the forest. I don't know what we're gonna be running all over Savannah, Georgia. And then I showed a picture of my sisters because I'm a big believer that it's our responsibility to uphold and to support other women in our industry. And so Andrea Knight is on the slide because she has been my cohort and sister since I joined the industry. So let's go ahead and get started with the content. You guys ready? I hope you guys are ready. Okay, so here's, I think, is super cool, right? So today is day 5. Today's the last day of Construction and Inclusion Week, right? For those of us who are in the construction industry, or we work or represent a general contractor who's engaged and has been sending out posts every single day and getting you guys to have conversations about different components. So today, we're going to just kind of be adding a caveat to this conversation. And the purpose of our talk today is really about empowering women through community engagement. And so if you have any questions, by the way, please put those in the chat. We are having somebody monitor the questions or any comments and or questions in the chat. So if you think of anything that we haven't addressed, or you feel like you want to share a comment and or a question, please put that in the chat. So let's go to the next slide. So we're here to talk about empowering women and understanding the importance of community engagement. So here's the thing I want you to think about, because when you think of community, right, if you look by definition, it's basically people that either live in proximity and where your community is built, right? If you live in a particular county or in a region, but really community can be built with 2 or 3 people in different spaces. So today we really want to talk about what it looks like in our workspaces. And I know that some of us are, not everybody on this call, I know is not going to be from the construction industry. I know some of you guys do architectural design. Some of you guys do engineering. Some of you guys are boots on the ground in construction. You one of the trades. You are one of the people. You're a superintendent, a project engineer. So you're working actually on a project every day. But I want to think about, when you think about the word community, I just want you to think about the community that you face with every day when you go on your day job. And then you have your community at home. We have our community in our neighborhood. We have our community in, if you fellowship or you go somewhere that you hang out with people in your community, or if you have a nonprofit organization that you also sponsor. So this event is being put on by NAWIC, which is, by the way, I have been part of NAWIC for more than 30 years. My very first meeting was 30 years ago in the city of Pomona, California. And that chapter at the time had maybe 35, 40 members. And my very first conversation when I joined the group, by the way, nobody in the room looked like me, but it was okay because they were all women, right? And so immediately they embraced me. They taught me the power community, and they shared they shared their knowledge of the industry that really helped me be successful in my very work first assignment. So creating positions for women leaders to be influential or to create influence in community growth. And then the goal is that we're doing that. It's going to create positive ripple effects in our local economies and industry, and creating some more visibility for us in our marketplace. Next slide. So best practices, right? So here's what I want you to do this. I'm a big believer that I want you to walk away with some real, and I know that we're going to make this PowerPoint available for you guys, so you don't have to take copious notes right now, but I want you to think about this. Building community is going to look different for all of us, depending on where you live. If you live in a city versus a community, if you live in a area where you're remote, or if you're in urban development, or if you're in landfill, or if you're in an area where you might be the only house for the next 2 acres, right? And so it just depends what community looks like. But I want you to think about this. Some of the best practices when embracing and building community is really building strong relationship with your local community. So that's, be it your community centers, your community activist programs that are within your community. It could be setting up, and sometimes, can I tell you this, is that one thing I love about us, you guys, is that you can create your own community. I am a big believer that you create your own community wherever you live, because you create your own tribe, right? And then partnering with local associations, schools, and nonprofits, providing public-private partnerships, right? So in the city of Los Angeles, I can't tell you, there's probably 1,000 different public-private partnerships that you can build. And I'm sure you probably have examples of that in your area. So I just put a couple of partners that I, in the last 5 years, really focused on developing within my region. And now this is very specific because it's specific to women in construction, and also it's because it's regional. So I partner with SMPSLA, right? And that's on my bio. You guys should just kind of made the introduction. So there's 4 chapters that are probably within 30 to 60 miles from each other. So Los Angeles, the Inland Empire, San Diego, and of course, Orange County. So those are some of the associations that I partner with. I partner with YUP SoCal. And YUP SoCal basically covers all the region in the area that I'm in. I work with WCOE. I work with Women in Transportation in Los Angeles, Orange County, as well as the Inland Empire chapter. And today, I'm actually in a remote site. We're hosting today our annual golf tournament for Business Development Associate of the Inland Empire. And then of course, I'm going to talk in more detail about my amazing relationship with my NAWIC sisters in Orange County, in Los Angeles, as well as San Diego. So let's go to the next slide. So I want you to think about this. How are we engaging your community, right? I'm going to kind of talk a little bit off script for just a minute. I think every one of us can attest the fact that it's becoming more and more difficult to get people to engage in the traditional type of events. When I say that is bringing a group of people to sit in a seminar. That's why we love these virtual talks, because this is like, you could do this, you can be you could be watching this while you're having lunch, while you're driving. You shouldn't be watching it when you drive, but let's just say that you're out about play. So obviously virtual is the way to go.
Yolanda, I think we lost your audio.
Um,
Yolanda, I'm not sure, but can you do something to, because we're not hearing your audio.
you can't hear my audio?
Now I
Hey
can.
guys, hey, are we back? Yeah, for some reason it died down. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna put my backup right now for my phone just in case that happens again. So I want you guys to think about this. I want you to think about the fact that one of the biggest key components, right, of building community is sometimes finding organizations that kind of look like us. It might be women that are in construction. It might be women that are in different traditional roles in construction. But finding I'm a big believer.
I think we're losing you again, sweetheart. Try to do
We
what you did
collab.
before.
Say it again. I can't hear you. What did you say?
Yeah, we just lost your audio for a second.
You're cutting in and out, so it might be worthwhile to use your backup if it has better reception or service.
Okay, that's okay. Here. No, no worries. I'm just gonna go.
Thanks for your patience, all. Yolanda's a master. She's going to figure it out.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go into another device. That's all. I'm gonna switch. I'm gonna be looking at the screen though. I'll still be looking at the screen, but I'm just gonna go to a different device.
Yep, we're just transferring devices. Thanks so much for your patience, all. Technical difficulties are just part of life, I guess. While Yolanda's connecting to her other device, feel free to shout out in the chat. What are some of the other organizations that you all partner with? Events that you do with your community to just engage folks, whether it be in construction or
I hope you guys can. I am back. Can you guys all hear me now?
Yolanda, that is so much better. Thank you so
Awesome.
much.
Awesome. No problem, you guys. So let me go back. So I think I figured out where we stopped. Okay. So engaging your community, I want you to kind of think about this, because when you guys are establishing your community, a lot of times the question comes up with this: there's other competing or other people in our community that are also doing some of the same things that we're doing in the marketplace, right? So I want you to think about this. Our number one goal is to not focus on being of competing, but collaborating. Okay, so the magic word for today is collaborate. Okay, so I want you to think about that. So finding innovative ways to communicate with people, addressing any community concerns within the construction projects, and then using technology or social media for engagement is very, very important. So just so you guys kind of get an idea, I'm thinking broad, right? So we are women in construction, but I want you to think about it. If you just wanted to celebrate women throughout the whole year, 365 days a year, I put a link inside this platform that actually gives you access to a full calendar of all the things that we can celebrate other women with within the year, right? Right now we're doing the construction, and this is the construction inclusion week, right? But think about this, we have an entire, really the whole month of March, you guys, is dedicated to different trades, different professions within within any multiple different industries, being the first week being dedicated for women in construction. So go ahead and go to the next slide. So how can we use holidays to celebrate each other within the community and involve other people outside of us, you guys, just other people that are in the community? Let's go to the next one. Thanks, Jennifer, for those comments. So just to look at the, if you're looking at the slide right now, there is, I mean, every single day you got International Day of Girl, you have clemency or civility for girls, for the Girls Child Day. You have breast cancer awareness this month. You have No Bra Day, October 13th. I didn't know anything about that day, okay? But International Day of Rural Women on October 15th. So right now we're at the 18th. So today is technically World Menopause Day. Okay. I know you guys are probably laughing in the background, but that's in the actual holiday, right? So there's multiple things. So if you look at this master calendar, you guys, you are actually able to really pick and choose what days you want to celebrate the women in your space. And it could be women in construction, it could be women in architecture, whatever it is that you're working on. But I just want you to think about what are some ways that you can build alliances that are not always going to be women that are sitting across from you on a trailer at an actual job trailer, or working across in a cubicle in the next area. And I think about this, I know, because some of us are working hybrid, some of us are working on job sites, some of us are working by ourselves, silo, in a remote location where you don't see people every day. So community engagement is going to look different for you, right? But I don't want you to don't put any of those things that I just shared in a box. I want you to think innovatively, using technology. How do you create a community outside of that? And so I know, Lisa, I know you're able to read some of the comments. If anybody wants to put any comments in the chat to let us know what are some of the things that you guys have done in your region on how to communicate or creating more engagement with your community. That would be great if you guys want to share that. So building stronger communities through National Association of Women in Construction. So here's the deal, all of us in our spaces, we're dealing with project challenges, project opportunities, strategic partners. We're dealing with vendors, first tier, second tier, third tier vendors. We're dealing with OSHA requirements. So we're dealing with safety requirements. There's all these things. I want to say this. It feels like there's a lot of plates spinning all at the same time in our space. But I want you to think about this. The real world can look different every day, right? And so when you think about community, I want you to just think outside of the box. How do you create community with the people around you, right? In real world, when you're dealing with on a project site, there's different impacts, right? So I remember a friend of mine was in New York, Buffalo, New York, and there was a huge storm where all the water was frozen within the facility, and literally all of the water was frozen within the pipes, right? Now, for all of us who are in California, we can't even imagine that, because that doesn't happen here. And if it does, it's very, it's not common, right? So they had to think out of the box on coming up with solutions on how they can get the water running. And then also, more importantly, what they needed to do to be able to create spaces for that to happen, right? And so I just want you to think about this. Community can look like you and I want you to think about this, because if you are one of 10, or if you're 3 women to 5, you guys already know that based on the percentages, women only make 11% of women in construction right now. And depending on where you're at and what trade you are, you really could be the 1 to 3% of women that are working in that space. So I want you to think about it. You have to create a space that's inclusive of both men and women, right? And then I think what's really super fun, you guys, is how do you leverage associations to support you, right? In women in the industry. So I'm just going to give you guys a case study that I worked on for the last 5 years. One of the things that I was faced with, right, when I first came onto the board of directors in our region in Los Angeles, is we had a very low engagement from our membership, right? But we had a high engagement from people who weren't our members, which is very interesting, right? And I think this is a common thing across the nation, right? And so we weren't having a lot of engagement from members, but then we were doing a good job of marketing to people who are finding us on social media and different things of that nature. So we made an aggressive poll to really start polling all of our members to find out. I mean, we had an amazing, her name was Jackie, Jackie from McCarthy. She was amazing in creating all of these systems for us to figure out why we weren't getting engagement from our membership. And one of the things that we found is that the biggest challenge we had is we had too many competing days with other associations in our region. So every month, that one person who only has a little bit of time has now to make a decision. Do they go to LA? Or do they go to Orange County events for NAWIC or San Diego events, right? And so we formed a partnership with Orange County at the time. And this was probably maybe 4 years ago officially, and really started working on not having our events on the same Tuesday of every month. So we switched. So they're on first Monday, we're on third Tuesday. And so we don't compete with each other. So we support their events, they support our events, right? This last Women in Construction series, we actually also included the amazing San Diego group to join us for a big day of collaboration of all 3 chapters, right? So I want you to think about this, because I think one of the other challenges is that you may have competing associations and so if just so you guys can see on the screen, I formed relationship with SMPS, with WTS, with YOPS, all of these organizations, all of these leaders. When I start to plan my Women in Construction, which is what we will be starting it now, right, for the next year, I invite all of these leaders and of these organizations to partner with us to support Women in Construction that week. So they are strategic partners with us. So I want you to think about this. What organizations do you have in your space right now that you could be building the bridge to bring together, that you guys can collaborate for Women in Construction Week, right? And what's very interesting is you have some of these other organizations also have the same members, same sponsors, same members, same community leaders are attending both of our events, right? So I just decided I'm not going to compete with those organizations. I'm going to bring them into the fold. I am going to share a calendar with them. They're going to share their calendar with me. And we're going to do our very best to support each other's events and really encourage our membership to participate in whatever events they have going on, right? And I think that each organization offers something different, right? So YOPS really focuses on operations. They are our boots on the ground, but really they talk about the nuts and bolts of construction development, right? And they're talking about solutions on how you deal with problematic challenges you will have with operations, right? And in NAWIC, we do talk about that, but not to the extent as what they specialize in. SMPS, they're all about business development and marketing, right? And so they're having topics and conversations that have to do with business development and marketing. So all of us that are in the marketer and business development sense, we might still be doing business development marketing within construction, right? But then if you pull out what we actually do every day, it really is just business development and marketing. So I just want to encourage you, if there's any associations right now that are in your community, that you could be forging the bridges. I'm very fortunate that in the Los Angeles region, we actually have 4 board members that are actually business owners, right? So it's important for us in LA to make sure that when we're providing content and opportunities, that we also are speaking to the women business owner, right? We can't just speak to the executives or project managers, that we are creating or curating programming that is actually going to support every level of the owner, to the executive, to the person that's in the field, to the person who is doing risk management on a project, right? And so I just want you to kind of take that into consideration, right? And so look at the active associations around you and start to forge relationships, right? I started first reaching out to the Orange County chapter. I made friends with the people who were running the Women in Construction component, Ms. Ling McVeigh, and then we became friends. And then all of a sudden, it was like, they already have a relationship with a nonprofit organization. We had an organization that we were working in Los Angeles. We collabed. We did our very first partnership online. And we did it online during the COVID season, right? And then once we did that, we went back into the right after COVID season. We started doing some smaller events where we were bringing in people to attend open market areas where there's big spaces in between, right, to create a safe environment, right? But I think some of the lessons learned in doing this is that we found ways to make our individual organizations stronger, because we were basically sharing data back and forth about what we were talking about. So the goal was that we would try to make sure that we're not covering the same topics every month that might that will conflict each other, right? And so that was part of my planning when we did our programming, is to figure out what everybody was talking about, so that we're also not teaching the same content. So that was some of the other things that we did. And I think one of the biggest takeaways that I found is that we even were able to leverage some of the same speakers. So we were able to get some of their speakers to also support us. And one of the things that I did, for those of you who understand like our programming for now it's going to be a little different going into this new Women in Construction year, but last year we had 40 people speaking. So we had 3 panels on one of the days. Every other program, with the exception of one day, had an actual panel, a moderator, and you had 3 to 4 different thought leaders that were sharing content, right? So part of my reach out to these associations was to put together the panels for all these discussions, right? So we kind of had an idea of what we wanted to cover in every one of the sections, right? And then I went to the team and I said, hey, who do you guys know in the marketplace who can speak about this? Who do you know who could speak about this subject matter? And so we collaborated. And so they made a commitment that during the Women in Construction Week, they would attend all of our events, right? And so understanding that. And so it was kind of, we collaborated. They reshared our invitation to their database. We reshared their information on our page. And so it worked out really, really well. We were doing partnerships and we were working together. So I just want you to think about this as you are identifying opportunities and doing your takeaways and your lessons learned. I really want you to think about what are some of the things that you can be building as you build your space as you're moving forward. So I want to go ahead to the next slide. Oh, so I'm done. So I'm actually done with my talk, but here's what I like to do. I'm sure there's probably things inside the chat or any questions that we may want to address, Lisa.
Yeah, absolutely. No, the chat has been so super active, and I am just so excited to be reading and engaging with you folks on this webinar, because Holly did a clothing swap for WIC Week in Boise. And Holly, if you're able to kind of maybe share a little bit more about that and what you see or what you did that made it successful, because what a great opportunity for people to kind of get together for a great cause and help each other out during an economically challenging time.
Did you allow Holly to talk, Lisa?
I'm trying to.
I can do it. Here you go.
Yeah.
There we go.
Hi, ladies. Can you hear me?
Yay.
Hi. Yeah, it was an idea that came from one of our national WIC Week conversation, and we tinkered around with the idea. It was a lot of work to put together, but the outcome was great because it brought a lot of people from the community that we wouldn't necessarily see, and that doesn't even necessarily mean that it was just, women in construction, but it just allowed us to broaden our acknowledgement of, what we do here in the Valley, because Boise is small but big. We're growing, but it was just great to see how many people really liked having that type of event. And we also offered light breakfasts and mimosas. So of course, that's always enticing to come to.
Way to go. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Do you know, what did you do to get the word out, and how many attendees did you have?
We
about
use social media and Facebook, obviously, and there's, within Facebook Marketplace, you can always join communities. That was one of the biggest factors, and it was, we didn't do it for profit, but, we had to cover some costs, but we had a really great budget, and it spread real quick because obviously a lot of people around here like to do market stuff like that. It's fun.
That is awesome. Thank you so much for sharing about that cool event. I just love it because it truly does bring community together, which is awesome.
It does. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. Annie, you shared a link about empowering women in electrical supply and manufacturers. Let me see, Annie Warren. Okay, well, she gave a link in the chat to empowering women to mentorshipprogram.com. So I recommend y'all check that one out. And then Renee, you have the buildher.org organization. Let's see, are you able to kind of share the mic and tell us a little bit about what you do to build community with that?
Yeah, absolutely. So Builder Be Heard is the workbook and journal that I went through self-publishing for the nonprofit to develop. And it was really to, target some of the folks that were project delivery, which most of my career had been. And like Yolanda mentioned, the boots on the ground folks, how do we get them to build that community? So it's a workbook that's established with weekly chapters to talk about various topics that we all face as women in construction. And it allows the reader to input their own journaling moments, and there's writing prompts, there's little activities in there to just document their journey as they're going on. So really it's helping women early in their careers in construction and related industries and the trades to help outline their journey and help them to build up the confidence to have that conversation and share it with others.
Wow, that is so fantastic. It's a great opportunity to get a lot of voices heard for a specific cause. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Nicole, you also posted an awesome event in our webinar chat about a PPE event. Could you please share with us?
Brian said, "Hey, I'm making you this person. If you get an email, forward it to me."
Yeah.
I said, "Okay." I was like,
She did a PPE event where we had vendors come in and show off their gear that was made for women. It included drinks and networking too. It was a lot of fun. She shared in the chat.
Can you hear me this time?
There we go. Perfect.
Okay.
Thanks, Nicole.
No problem. Yeah, we partnered up with a couple of the other organizations here local to Vancouver, BC, Canada, and had prizes and food and drinks. And one of the distributors for safety gear had noticed that there was a real issue for women finding PPE that fit properly. A lot of times stuff was labeled for women, but not actually fitting. So the vendors actually paid for the tables to be there. And then that covered the cost of the food and a drink. It was like hors d'oeuvres and stuff like that. And we had a Hillary Peach, who's a Boilermaker, who had just had a book come out, did a reading as well for her amazing book, Thick Skin, Field Notes of a Sister in the Brotherhood. Amazing book if you haven't read it. And it was fantastic. Everyone tried on the gear, got to hang out, did some networking. The vendors were, I was trying to find, we had Helgaware, Watson Gloves, P&F Workwear, Latoplast Force Field Line, and MSA Safety were the main vendors. And it was super successful. After the event, I sent out a survey to really get feedback on what were the best of each one, and then did a follow-up news report on our website where I really got championed those big wins. And I've actually used some of those and shared some of that information since then too. Just Watson Gloves, for example, amazing gloves, super great. But yeah, no, it was a really great and fun event. And it's nice finding those partners to join with other people and see what you guys can do together.
Absolutely. And could you shout out the name of that book again, please?
Thick Skin, Field Notes of a Sister in the Brotherhood, Hillary Peach, as a Boilermaker. It's absolutely amazing. I'll put it in the chat too.
Thank you.
Hey, so anybody else have any other things that they wanted to share? Again, I just think it's so important, you guys. One of the things I think that is so important for you and I in the marketplace right now is to really find more ways on how to connect with one another. And doing so, you're going to find that building community is going to continue to help you. You'd be amazed. And I think one of the challenges too, you guys, with building community is, and I don't know about you, I'm only speaking from myself, is sometimes in my culture, I was raised to be very independent and I didn't ask enough for help. And so not asking for help has been, could definitely, it could definitely put you in a position where you're not getting enough support. So I just want to encourage everybody as part of collaborating with others, right, is also raising your hand to say, hey, I need help. And sometimes it's just getting other people involved in different things that maybe you can do, but it's good to have other people involved because then everybody feels included. And so this whole week is Construction Inclusion Week, right? So the goal is to include others, right? And you won't know someone else's strength until you allow it to come out. It's very interesting. I think all of us have done the Myers-Briggs and all these different type of personality trait development processes. As an association, I think we probably need to do a better job of identifying within our boards and even within our association, what is our makeup of the people that actually are attending, or let's say that our membership is all about, so that we can curtail more programs that really would encourage them to participate. So you already know, whenever I have a networking event, I have people from all over the state of California show up to our networking events because we always have very fun, engaging events. But I think one of the things that that I love too is that when we do have a really hard talk like risk management or safety, we also get a huge engagement from that community as well. So I just want to encourage you when building community and building engagement. I want you to look at yourself like, who are your 5 to 10 people that you know you can pick up the phone, and those are the people that show up without you having to explain the why, and find out why they are the people that you call first. So as you're building your community, it's good to identify who is part of your tribe, right? And guess what? Some of those people might be your neighbors. Some of those people might be your board directors. It might be a member within the association. But I want you to really start to pay attention, you guys. There really is a tribe that's associated with you from different circles and different spaces, depending on what the needs are, right? And so as you're building it, acknowledging it, and then really being intentional about staying connected within that community. And so I hope this information today was helpful for you. It gave you some insight on how to look at just a different lens when we're looking at community engagement and engaging with women in construction and just women in general. You guys, before we're women in construction, we are women. We are a sister. We are an auntie. We are a comadre, amiguis. We are a sister girlfriend. We are a hey you girl. We are a wives. We're moms. We are dressmakers. We're the decorators, right? We have so many roles that we facilitate every single day. And so I just want you to know, as you are engaging community, I also want you to take time for yourself. I hope you hear that. Self-care is necessary, you guys. So part of your community engagement is also reinvesting time back into yourself. Like, give yourself time. Give yourself time out. Look, I always say, if I had a magic sauce of time, that I had magic wand, I would suspend time and not do a thing. Be kind to yourself. Yes, Holly, I got it. I saw that comment. Being kind to ourselves, guess what, guys? It gives us the ability to be able to give back and pour into others. And so, anyways, those are my final thoughts. Again, thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Miss Mercedes, for allowing me to share and close out this amazing week of Women Inclusion Week, Construction and Inclusion Week. And so I just want to say thank you. And thank you for all the people that are going to watch this and are on live now and are going to watch it on the replay. I just want to say thank you for sharing this with your community, sharing this with your colleagues in your place of business. And so thanks again. This is Yolanda Baber. I am the Vice President of JGM, Jenkins, Gales, and Martinez. We do architectural design and construction management throughout the whole United States. And so there's always ways of us connecting. If you're not connected with me on LinkedIn, please do so. And please follow me on LinkedIn. If there's anything that you want to attend or you want to go with me, you can always be my plus one. So you're welcome and invited to participate. So I'm going to turn it over to Lisa.
Sounds great, Yolanda. Thank you so much for sharing your inspiration. I hope y'all were kind of following along in the chat. Mercedes also posted a lot about what Puget Sound does, partnering with local community organizations such as Habitat for Humanity and ANEW and a few other organizations. I'm not sure if Mercedes, if you're in a place where you can jump in on that conversation, but if you can, that'd be great. But overall, I just wanted to thank everybody so much for being here, for making us part of your Construction Inclusion Week celebration and inspiration. We've been blessed with a lot of really great speakers, and you can count on your DE&I education team to bring forward a couple more great speakers this year. So just be on the lookout for that NAWIC connection to keep informed. And also to shout out Yolanda one more time, she is the national co-chair for WIC Week. So she is also your go-to girl for kind of getting that inspiration and truly building our communities up to where we want to pass them on to the next generation. Thank you all so much for being here. Have a wonderful, wonderful day, a great Construction Inclusion Week, and a great weekend. Thanks so much. Stay well. Take care of yourself. Bye.